お兄ちゃん
I say cry こぼれた涙のぬくもりで優しさを知ったはずなのに
So here I am again to talk about goddamn Sword Art Online. And honestly, I was actually pretty hyped for the beginning of the series actually. I mean, after the terrible second half of Season 1, how could it get any worse than that? And after seeing like Death Gun and all that crap, I was actually really excited. And then I got disappointed rather than happy or excitement at the anime really. So then, ladies, gentlemen, otaku, I humbly present to you, with all my hospitality, my review of Gale Online, Sword Art Online. I can't believe I'm talking about this anime again. And God, it was kind of impossible to escape it, as everyone in the community was talking about this show. Anyway, the anime first opens up in a bar, or a pub of sorts, in the latest game craze, Gale Online, which just so happens to be the game with the most pro players. As a whole, the game, Gale Online, just kind of sucks, and I'll get into that a bit later on. In a certain bar, a live stream interview is being broadcasted, in which this fucker reveals that players who have spent 8 months, 8 goddamn months, never leaving the house and solely spending the majority of their time raising their agility stats are essentially idiots, as the agility stat they currently have now is changed. Wait, so if the stats and abilities change this frequently, wouldn't there be a riot from the fans and just leave to the next game? I know that farming is a big part in MMORPGs, and MMO players may enjoy this aspect perhaps, but if it takes this long to goddamn level up your player to a good level,
then to only just change, then who is playing this game anyway?
That's assuming that from 8 months of grinding, can these players just simply switch to another ability type, or are they stuck with this here forever? A mysterious figure in black walks up to the TV and fires a gun at Etsy's face, resulting in what seems to be a heart attack before disconnecting. The gun he fired is called Death Gun, which is just a stupid name and ironic too. I mean, guns are a tool for killing people, right? So does adding death to a gun make it double death? Also, I couldn't help but draw similarities to the Death Note from, well, Death Note. After that, we get our two main characters, Kirito and Asuna, on a date of sorts, talking about something uninteresting, and honestly rather dull. Kirito was then asked to go and talk to a government agent about the recent deaths related to the game Gale Online. This scene goes along for about 12 to 15 minutes in a cafe, one of the worst places ever to do an exposition scene. It's just two people sitting at a table across from one another and eating goddamn cake. Nothing interesting is going on in the background, and this scene just serves so that the audience know what's going on, instead of the author working on these plot devices into the narrative. He asks Kirito for help, and gives him the mission to go find Death Gun and his identity, and find out what is really going on. And before you know it, it's the end of the episode. So how do you like episode 1, everybody? Kind of dull, I know, yeah. In episode 2, we then meet this arc's female protagonist, a girl called Shinon, a GGL player, a sniper to be exact, who is wearing the shortest fucking shorts possible. Can these things even be qualified as shorts? This is where we get the first fight in this anime, and just from these character designs alone, you know these guys will just die and have no relevancy to the plot whatsoever. Here's another thing I found strange about GGL itself. Every time you fire a bullet, a prediction line can be seen, and you can act accordingly to avoid these bullets. However, the only exception to this is the first bullet, which has no prediction line. That means sniper players are always guaranteed a kill, especially in a one-on-one fight, assuming the other player doesn't know where she is. This makes the BOB tournament later kind of shit. This episode is just essentially Shinon fighting the enemy team by scaling a giant tower, jumping off from it, getting her leg shot off, missing and avoiding every other bullet being thrown at her, also while in midair, firing her bullets at point blank range and winning the fight. Well, this was actually so stupid it's good, so I'll let it pass. In the third episode of the show, it begins to pick up as we finally get some characterization for Shinon, who turns out she is afraid of guns, which is kind of ironic since she plays a game all about guns, but you know, whatever, as when she was a child, she shot and killed an armed robber in a bank, potentially saving the lives of many people. This event has haunted her to this day, so she believes that if she becomes the strongest player in GGO and wins the Bullet of Bullets, then she will overcome her fear. And this is actually not a bad motive for this player actually. Kirito arrives in Gale Online, finally, and I was thinking to myself, okay, it was a little slow at first, but should now pick up a little. Oh boy. Anyway, on first arrival, it turns out that in this game, your avatar is randomly selected for you. And I mean, really? Customization is the most basic of things you have in an MMORPG, and new games in the genre are always trying to add more features and trying to expand on this idea. Who the fuck is playing this game? If you can't even customize your own character, well, people play for 8 months just to level up your character to a certain stage. And also Kirito is a Gale. Oh no, wait, he's a male, but just like Gale. See how funny he is with his high-pitched voice? Wait, if your character is randomly selected for you, then why the hell does Kirito look like him, just with longer hair? And Shinon's in-game character looks exactly the same as her real-life image, minus the glasses and the blue hair. So random avatars for everyone else, but for the main characters they have similar avatars to their real-life appearances. Anyway, Kirito wanders around for a while before meeting Shinon, by mere coincidence in this giant world. As Shinon sees a fellow female character, she shuts down tsundere mode and agrees to help Kirito buy weaponry, and more boring exposition about the world. They enter what seems to be a shop of sorts, where they meet what seems to be an incredibly difficult game. But of course, on his first goddamn try, Kirito beats this game, earning himself the prize jackpot, and wins this by predicting the prediction line's aim of fire. Honestly, if this game has as many of the top players almost hardcore as it says it does, then wouldn't players have already figured out what to do? But no, this scene solely exists for Kirito to once again show off his godlike talents, and for him to get some money in order to advance the plot.
Thinking back, the game mechanics of the entire GGO seem to always advance and be convenient enough for the narration of the story. Like, Kirito's avatar was changed, but not so much that it differed from his real life appearance. He just happened to be a Gale, so that he could become friends with Shinon, the only female character we've known up to this time of this new arc. And yeah, it just all seemed really convenient, doesn't it?
So with this money, Kirito goes to purchase some weapons, but instead sees a sword which reminds him of the SAO days and buys it. It's literally a fucking lightsaber, and it even makes the sound effects. George Lucas is after your money. Honestly, this is one of the most hated things for me about this arc personally. Now Kirito has his sword, he is really strong, as we already know he's an expert swordsman. I think that the story would have been better if Kirito used a different weapon. This would have meant that Kirito would have had to adapt to this new world, learn how it works, and wouldn't be the gaming god from the very start. But nope! After all that, Shinon is running late for entering the BOB tournament, and it seems there is no teleporters in this world, which is kinda stupid, but whatever. So Kirito gives her a ride in these difficult to ride motorbikes, but of course, Kirito being Kirito, learns how to drive the fucker straight away. Once they arrive at where they need to be, Kirito enters alongside Shinon in the Blade of Bullet tournament to find Death Gun, and just mainly for this scene right here. Finally, Kirito gets some action in a pretty awesome looking fight scene in the tournament. Although I'm still confused about why this guy right here just didn't begin firing when Kirito was not facing him. Finally, Death Gun reveals himself as one of the Laughing Coffin members from SAO, a guild that Kirito murdered 2 of the members from, and still hasn't come to grips for what he has done. This scene is good because Death Gun is so ominous, and Kirito is genuinely frightened and scared about what he did in the past. This is easily the most interesting thing that's ever happened to Kirito, and it could lead to some actual characterization for this character. Despite this being the most interesting thing that's ever happened to Kirito, it's barely even developed, and this would have been the perfect chance to have Asuna take part in this arc, or at least a bigger role to play. They are both SAO survivors and both fought in the same fight, so they should support each other and their bond could grow. I could give a crap about their relationship, which throughout the entire anime is barely even touched upon. But this also begs the question, Kirito now knows that Death Gun is a Laughing Coffin member. Wouldn't he now be easy to find? Shouldn't they just search for survivor members on an SAO survivor list or something? Kirito, being pissed off now, somehow manages to dodge every single bullet thrown at him for some reason. God, this game is so fucking broken. Shinon gets a fight too, but it's not really that exciting. Eventually, Kirito and Shinon battle it out in a match that means nothing whatsoever, so this removes any excitement or tension from this fight, and is instead just pointless. Shinon, like most of the audience, gets fed up with his fucking attitude, and tries to shoot him, but Kirito, being the badass that he is, cuts the bullet in two, and ending in a forfeit, with Kirito dropping Shinon. I mean, let her go, you goddamn pervert. Are you aware that Asuna is watching this? Do you remember when I said that this is the only interesting thing that has ever happened to Kirito? Well, after only a 5-minute talk with a goddamn nurse, he seems fine as hell, and she essentially just said jack shit to him. So finally the BOB tournament starts, and then I thought, this must be good. I was wrong. The final round of the BOB tournament takes place on a large map, with many different terrain, which sounds good aside from the satellite that displays your location every 15 minutes, which is fine on its own as you have to be constantly on the move, but just means with a small amount of players you can just keep running around in a never ending circle, as well as being underwater and in the cave hide you. So there's really no point, and it doesn't stop camping. But Defdun makes his first kill, and now this being broadcast live, so doesn't anyone find this kind of strange? That goddamn government agent from episode 1 must be watching the show somewhere, and won. Defdun looks different than any other character in the game, so should arouse suspicion, but he literally murdered someone in the open. Well, granted, most people wouldn't assume that is a murder, it just seems to be a glitch of sorts, or some kind of stage performance. But the government agent does nothing or anyone else. After a very short encounter with Defdun, in which the two make their escape, and Shinon has to be saved by big strong Kirito like every other girl in the show, Kirito becomes Detective Conan. The Defdun is part of a 3-man team. This is where I lost any caring anymore for this arc. So with his dog-like deduction skills, Kirito comes with the conclusion that someone goes to the house of the target in the real world and injects them with a deadly serum, timing it with the gun shot of Defdun in the game.
Once you wrap your head around all that bullshit, you realise how shit this concept is.
I mean, what if Defdun is firing and shooting, but misses the person, but the person in the real world just assumes they're being shot and injects a serum anyway? Why make it such a complicated mess of a reason for this plot, but instead make Defdun one insane motherfucker who just goes on a rampage, and Kirito has to find out who he is by carefully gathering clues. So if this prediction wasn't scarily accurate enough, he tells Shinon that someone is waiting at her bed, ready to inject her with the death serum, and tells her that she would be safer with him. To that I say, fuck you. I think I would feel much more safer if I had more control of my own fucking body. Then it's revealed that you can't log out of the game. Oh, how fucking convenient for this time. But you can log out if your breathing rate increases.
So in that case, why doesn't Kirito get Shinon to tell him her address, so that Kirito can grab her ass in the virtual world, get himself inside, so that his heart rate increases, he can log out, go to a house, preferably with some police or whatever, and have the tournament postponed. Some may argue that Kirito needs to fight Defdun in order to come to grips with his past, which I can understand, but surely the most important thing to do at this moment is just to get the information out there. But the only reason he doesn't do this is just because of the way it was written. Kirito fights off with Defdun in a pretty cool looking action scene before returning to the real world and going to Shinon's house and having one of the most entertainingly bad moments of the show. Then look who it is! Kirito comes to the rescue to save the poor damsel in distress. The person, in fact, who was Defdun was Asuda's friend. That creepy bastard who loves Asuna the same way you know from Morality loves Yuki. So the motivation for this character was just plain pathetic. GGO was his life and whatever, I don't fucking care. Honestly, the Gale art was just boring, and in my opinion, I'm not the only person who thinks this either. Many people do. There are way too many flashbacks from what we have seen already, far too many boring cafe exposition scenes, and everything felt way too inconsistent with the pacing. Animation ranged from good to bad, but I can understand since the A1 pictures are a busy lot, and the music is still awesome as ever. However, while I do appreciate that they did try to make some development for Kirito, it never really went anywhere, which is a shame. The story has far too many plot holes which I just went through, and even more, and the new female character Shinon just becomes like Asuna, going from a strong female character to a scared little bitch,
just relying on Kirito to help her, and having no substance whatsoever. The concept for Death Done was cool, but ruined by the shitty plot. It's a futuristic world. Why couldn't Death Done himself just kill people, instead of the serum shit? The opening is awesome in my opinion, but honestly has too many spoilers left and right, which I could easily get, and are not very subtle. The game GGO itself as well seems too unrealistic, and I can't actually see anyone playing this game in the real world. And finally, Kirito is still the most boring and dull character in the entire show. And to add insult to injury, no Asuna. There were just so many missed opportunities, and when I thought they would go on the door somewhere, they just fucking didn't.
Well, wasn't that a mouthful? I haven't done a review this long since my Moranishi reviews, and they were utter shit, so don't go watch them. SAO2 was an anime I wanted to do for the longest time, since I had a lot to say about Gale Online, and there was a lot of, I just wanted to do it for the very longest time. So thank you for watching part 1 of part 2 of my Sword Art Online review. Part 2 will be here whenever it's done, and that should be like another month or so. I'm sorry in advance. And now I'll be doing Mother's Rosario. Oh god, no. Thank you for choosing me as your entertainment provider for the last 10-20 minutes. I'm not sure how long this video will be. I think it's like 20-minute video or something, but thank you for choosing me as your entertainment provider. Have a lovely day. Stay beautiful like I am with my fabulous hair and haircut is horrible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
つなぐ旅の途中で君が描いた未来の世界はいつか